Welcome back, Fun Fam. And if you're brand new to the channel, brand new to the show, welcome in to follow the Bradley's Fun. This is the Daily Dish with me, your host, Ron E. Bradley. And I hope that wherever you are having a phenomenal day. Speaking of the day, as of the recording and live streaming of this right now, today is the 24th day of March in the year 2025. So it's a 32425. Is that right? 32425. It is. I do believe that is correct. And yes, and man, what a weekend that was. It was a really, really crazy weekend. And passing of George Foreman, I want to acknowledge it. We're not going to spend much time focusing on that. Somebody that would be personally more important to me also passed away, and that was Mia Love. Most people don't know who Mia Love is, but she was a congresswoman out of Utah, and I was very supportive of her. And unfortunately, she passed away at a very young age, I think, due to a 3-year fight with brain cancer. So, gosh. And then also we have Morning Ron and everyone. I'm having a rough day today. My friend Annabeth from Elf the Musical, she passed away yesterday. Keep her family and my friends in your prayers. Indeed, there are a lot of condolences, a lot of, man, I tell you what. Unfortunately, the news is often bad news, and we really, really wish that it was good. I've got a clip for that coming. I was going to do it over the weekend. I haven't quite got it in yet. Hopefully, everybody's waking up with me. Yes, indeed. We are, we are waking up this morning. Thank you guys for being here. You guys get me out of bed in the morning. You really do. Thinking about you often is the reason I get up to come here into the studio to do the show. Like many Americans, like many people, I'm pretty normal. I fight depression, ill feelings. I'm getting older too. At age 53, I'm going to be 54 this year, which means I'm getting close to being halfway through my 50s already. And the time is going by fast, and you feel like you miss out on a lot of things. I don't have the health or energy or all those youth factors that I had, of course, when I was younger. So it's tough. But you guys, I am so grateful for you, for each one of you being here. Best audience on YouTube, and I thank you so much for being that, because you're the energon that makes this guy transform and roll out of bed.
A toast, Autobots. Boy, these are good. I needed to refuel. Energy. This stuff's the greatest.
I'm playing that again because things are weird with my browser this morning. Give me just a second. I'm going to play it again and see what happens. It feels like it didn't even play smooth.
A toast, Autobots. Boy, these are good. I needed to refuel. Energy. This stuff's the greatest.
Yeah, that stuff is the greatest. But you guys are the greatest. You are the greatest audience in YouTube. And just thank you so much for those out there that are here, that are watching. Yeah, it was an absolute nutcase crazy of a weekend. But we need to be here. We're celebrating with all of you. Snortapoopas Q Burr is here, and you were first in the house this morning. Hello, humans and other critters. I appreciate you being here every day that you're here. When you can't be here, that's okay too. I understand. But when you are, I want you to know I do not take your time for granted. I know how important it is. Time is extremely important. So if you're spending your time with me here, thank you so much. What an incredible gift that is. So thank you so much. I read somewhere where reviewers are praising Zegler's performance and saying that Gal Gadot dragged the movie down. Typical Hollywood bullshwaggle. Yes, that is true. I've seen that as well. And a lot of people. Here's the thing: Gal Gadot has recently become outspoken about Israel, and she's Israeli, and unfortunately, anti-Semitism runs deep in a lot of people's hearts. It really, really does. That is the one thing you don't see people talk about outwardly, but man, it is there. And you can see it with the sentiments that, for example, Rachel Zegler posted a very anti-Semitic message on X. But it's not outward. It's more like, hey, I'm rooting for the other side, so I'm not really going to. I'm just going to talk about them. And I'm going to talk about how we feel about Israel. Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. I lived in Israel for 2 months, and so rather than saying it outright, what they'll do is they'll take somebody like Gal Gadot and they'll criticize her performance, even though her performance is probably perfectly passable as the evil queen for the writing that she's been given, which I'm sure the writing wasn't good. But yeah, that's the kind of thing that happens. It's unfortunate that we have that kind of sentiment in the world today. So much hatred towards Israel, the people that live there, and their right to exist as a country. Because while Israel does have the right to exist as a country, the other side has no claim, legitimately. So that's the way history is. Not my fault that it worked out that way, but history is history. Storm Poops Cuber says at that service dog, hello. Yeah, I know. My browser was having so many issues. This is, by the way, when you see this come up, that's still me, just from a different account. But yeah. Native Hawaiian is here. He's in the house. Aloha and good morning, y'all. Yes, both eyes are currently on work, but I'm ninja listening. And Jonathan Rubin is here. Says, hi, Ron. Took my 6-year-old cousin to see Snow White. Asked her what she thought the message was. She mentioned kindness and be there for your friends. I love that. We'll wait to teach humanity. Yeah, a lot of times the subtext is there that's putting subliminal messages in the kids' minds is what I worry about more than what they get out of something on the surface. Very, very careful about that, especially when you have kids. You get really, really careful about that. Echoes Heart says, good morning, everyone. And Andy W. says, good morning. Happy Monday. I hope it's a good week for everybody. Yes, better than the weekend, that's for sure. Dan's Life at the Kingdom is here. Says, good morning, Ron and everyone. And Mr. Fulton Mraz, unfortunately, says, yes, morning, Ron. Everyone having a rough day. Annabeth from Elf, the musical, passed away yesterday. Keep her family and friends in prayers. Yes, indeed, we are wishing condolences and prayers for that family. Everybody does. Snortopupus, Native Hawaiian, and Equus Heart. Thank you guys, all of that. And then George Foreman passed away. For those who don't know, George named all of his children George or Georgina. George 1, 2, 3, and 4. Waking up is hard to do. Basically, exactly that, service dog. That is exactly what I am talking about. And the reason that exists that way is because while Israel would be more than happy with a two-state solution, the other side would not be. And they, I'm not going to say on this program what they wish. You know, I can't say it here. I wish I could, but this kind of a program, and with Google's algorithm and YouTube and all that, not going to. But what I do want to do is celebrate. We have celebrations on the show. Now, I am sitting at my channel. I would like to do, for the members of the channel, another custom emoji. I would like to. So looking at my current level of channel memberships. Okay. So in order for that to happen, I have 62 current channel members. Need 75 to show up in the area that I see this on YouTube. So in order for 75 memberships to happen, probably what would need to happen, because some memberships seem to disappear overnight. So I probably would need like 15 or 20 memberships dropped in a single day in order to overcome that and get to that 75 mark. So I'm just letting you guys know that. But anytime somebody becomes a member of the channel while during the show, or anytime, actually, I should show this too. We have a spread shop. Spread shop is let me put this on the screen. Give me a second. Present, share. Hopefully these things will work. All right. Looks like I got it working. Okay. So I have a spread shop. There it is. All right, so these are the different products available on Follow the Bradley's Fun, my spread shop merchandise. Right now, there are 3 designs, actually technically 4 designs available. You got the Make Disney Walt Again. That's the hat I'm wearing. You can see that. It comes available in shirts and mugs and cups and everything else, as well as the Follow the Bradley's Fun. This is actually the shirt I'm wearing today, if you can see that. The Fedora Finds. I don't know why, but my browser being super slow. But there it is. There's the Follow the Bradley's Fun family avatar logo as well. So if anybody purchases anything from the spread shop during the show today, we will celebrate that. You just got to let me know that you purchased something. By the way, there's 2 days left of free shipping. So if you want free shipping, get your stuff now. That actually is a really good savings, anywhere from $6 to like $12. So free shipping is a good deal, but especially the more you order, the higher that shipping cost goes up. So boom, boom, boom. Shop the Fun. Thanks, Native Hawaiian. I appreciate you sharing that out. Go and Shogi is not able to be with us this morning. He has other things that are occupying him. He actually wrote me and told me, so I appreciate that too. So thank you, Native Hawaiian, for sharing that out. But there's the spread shop, and there's the link. So you purchase something from that, we celebrate it on the channel. Now, we also celebrate anybody becoming a member of the channel. Pants are optional to shop. That is true. I could very well not be wearing pants right now, but I actually am. So I have my pajama bottoms on, but I do have a bottom on. Anyhow, so yes, so purchase from the spread shop, becoming a member of the channel, even channel milestone membership chats, also any gifted memberships, super chats, super thanks, super stickers, PayPal donations, buy me a coffee, any of that stuff we celebrate. Of course, we have a goal right now of 5 super chats during the show. It'd be great if it happens. If it doesn't, that's okay. But we like to set the goal to give you guys something to shoot for out there, because we like to celebrate all of this. So any of that kind of stuff happens, and we're going to throw down a celebration. And what does a celebration look like? Well, it might look something like this. You know, Star Wars representation in the parks during Star Wars weekends at Hollywood Studios or MGM back in the day when we were really going strong with Star Wars weekends. It was so much, like literally 1,000 times better than Galaxy's Edge. It's so sad because Galaxy's Edge should have been in addition to Star Wars weekends, or it should have been like a permanent Star Wars weekend where they have that many people coming in to populate the area. But man, it's just sad what Disney has become over the last few years compared to what it used to be. The Disney parks used to be such a great value. Um, and they are not anymore. Speaking of that, we got to get to our first story of the day, and that is the dumpster fire. Not the dumpster fire that was Snow White, but the actual dumpster fire. So yeah, I don't know if you know this. I guess some of you probably do know this, but there was, in fact, an actual dumpster fire at Disney. Somebody took a video of it. This was posted on X. And so I'm going to bring this up here if I can. Let me see here. So this is the video that was posted on X of the, like during the fire, somebody's riding the Skyliner and they took this video. Ryan at Ryan WMSN. This was his video that he had posted on X. Yes, this is without sound, by the way. But there you can see out the window, you can see the fire burning in that like very small snippet. Look at it again. And coming up right here, you can see the fire burning. Look just behind that. There it is. Boom. So I don't know what that was. What they're saying. Come on. So what it looked like was yeah, there's an actual dumpster burning behind the thing. It started in a apparently it started in a walk-in in the back. I don't know how, like, because usually walk-ins, I guess it could have been the dry storage walk-in, because there's a lot of stuff. Having worked in so many restaurants, what I would expect is that somehow there was some grease spilt, some type of a grease spilt, and then somebody accidentally lit that on fire. So Native Hawaiian says over here, I love this. Folks, we have reached the portion of our Disney programming where things aren't just a dumpster fire figuratively, but now literally, yes, an actual dumpster fire, which is just, I mean, how crazy is that, right? So we are going to visit. Get that off here. And let's see if we can visit this story out of that park place about this. Breaking. Massive fire breaks out in Epcot at France Pavilion in Walt Disney World, according to parks. Adding to parks mounting safety concerns. Let's see. A couple of new people have come in the door here. Dan's Life at the Kingdom says, crazy what happened that day. Yeah, I know. Obviously, you know that, Dan, because you saw my post on Facebook. Hey, Juliet. Good to see you in the house. So let's go over to the story, okay? Out of that parkplace.com and by M. Montanaro. And by the way, during this whole fiasco, I was over at Epcot. We were doing some lives, not Epcot. While this happened, Dan knows this and some other people know this. My wife and I were both live streaming at the Grand Floridian trying to show off the Easter eggs, which there's way less Easter eggs than there used to be. So I don't know what that's about. But it was busy. And this was Saturday night. Breaking massive fire breaks out in Epcot at France Pavilion in Walt Disney World, according to, why do I keep saying according to? My brain's not working right, guys. Let me try this once again. Breaking massive fire breaks out in Epcot at France Pavilion in Walt Disney World, adding to park's mounting safety concerns. There we go. And there is a picture of the front side of Epcot prior to any of the reconstruction, because that picture has the monoliths in it. That's an old picture. A massive fire broke out this evening behind Epcot's France Pavilion, sending thick black smoke billowing into the sky and rattling guests throughout the park. The smoke could be seen clearly from various vantage points around Epcot, with sirens blaring as fire trucks raced to the scene. I think that's probably the same video that I just showed right there. Eyewitness photos captured smoke rising from the area near Remy's Ratatouille Adventure. Though the ride was closed at the time of the incident, eagle-eyed guests on the Disney Skyliner managed to get footage of the actual flames, which appeared quite large as they filled the sky with black smoke. Those within the France Pavilion described an unsettling scene as the fire appeared to rage on in the backstage area. There's, of course, out of the pass holders. This might have been one of the pictures. I think this is the picture that I sent. There he goes. Yes. There's the picture of the fire. You can see it there. And Dan, oh, look at that. My beautiful wife is here. My beautiful wife is in the house. Good morning, baby. Love you. I see you. So she and I were live streaming from the Grand Floridian, and then Dan texted me or let me know in the chat that was going on. Then I looked at my Facebook and I saw the post. I think I sent this post over to Marvin at That Park Place, and so he could get the story up, because I don't write. I'm not a writer. But anyway, yeah. So it was crazy that this all happened. So thanks, Dan. Dan gets the credit for the heads up. And then I sent it over, and then Marvin got it out, and well, we all work together. We all work together as one. Come together as one. Yeah. So anyhow, then I saw Disney Food Blog posted that it was a dumpster fire. If you look, it is in the backstage area. So this says, according to an update from Blog Mickey at 7:35 p.m., the fire has since been extinguished. The cause has been attributed to a backstage cooler, and no injuries have been reported. Guest areas are reportedly set to reopen shortly. According to a veteran firefighter who spoke with That Park Place, the foam insulation used in many walk-in coolers is highly flammable and, if ignited, could produce the same kind of black smoke seen in Epcot during this incident. While we have no confirmation that this was the kind of equipment used backstage at Epcot, our source described this kind of installation as basically solid gasoline. He stated these kinds of fires are typically difficult to fight and send up smoke, like burning oil. Additionally, since the compressor units are usually found on top, a small fire from a burnt up motor or compressor might not have been noticed for some time. There are also no fire alarms required in spaces that are not permanently inhabited or aren't public areas. We will continue to reach out to sources and monitor the situation and report concrete details when and if they become available. While Disney moved quickly to contain the situation, tonight's fire is merely the latest in a concerning pattern of incidents at Epcot. Just a few months ago, the park suffered a sewage leak and ceiling collapse inside the Land Pavilion, a serious infrastructure failure that temporarily closed parts of the building and forced evacuations. There were also recently tripping hazards in the New World Celebration area of the park, where cracked pavement and uneven ground lighting presented a tripping hazard. This area is in such disrepair after barely a year in service. Taken together, these incidents suggest more than just bad luck. Epcot has long been known for its pristine cleanliness, innovative design, and high safety standards. However, in recent months, guests and observers alike are noticing cracks, sometimes quite literally in the facade. Whether it's backstage coolers catching fire, ceilings giving way, or sewage leaks disrupting guest experiences, questions are starting to rise about whether Walt Disney World's focus on upkeep and maintenance is slipping. We will continue to monitor the situation and provide updates if any new information becomes available. Guests expect Disney parks to be the gold standard in safety and maintenance, but as incidents continue to stack up, many are starting to wonder if the magic is being replaced by mounting maintenance mishaps. Yeah, it's kind of strange because we used to talk about that all the time. Rock the Boat. Good morning, Rock the Boat. Good to see you in here. And my wife is saying, oh, Tom F is here. Good morning, Tom. Good morning, Rock. And yes, good morning to everybody that is coming in this morning. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate that. And looks like we got quite a few new people coming through the door. So let's do a little small celebration welcoming everybody in.
Is it too much? Too much? It's your birthday!
Oh, this is just the best of us. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, so there you have. Oh, there you have dumpster fire number 1, the literal dumpster fire. The next dumpster fire on the docket is, of course, Snow White. What a dumpster fire of a movie that has been. And while there are many reviews out there, I would like to let everybody in my audience know that I have stuck to my guns on this. And as a principled matter, I have not spent money on going to see this because, as you know, the star Rachel Zegler told those of us that do not want to align with her way of thinking that we need not see this film. And I'm like, okay, well, you know what? I'm going to take her at her word. And since she's instructed me to not go support this film and see it, then I will take Rachel Zegler at her word and also not go see it. You know, I'm nice. I'm really nice to somebody like that. And if she's instructing me not to go, I'm not going to go. Okay. I'm happy to do your bidding, young lady. That's all I'm saying. So let me see here. Okay. Just wanted to make sure that we were good on our tabs. So of course, so I did not go see it. Hello, Maritza. Good to see you. However, those that absolutely did need to review Snow White went to go see it. And so there were those for that park place that went to go see it to review it. And we are going to go to one of those reviews right now. And this, of course, is Out of That Park Place by M. Montanaro, who did, in fact, go and see this. And this is his rundown, his review. Snow White movie review. Gal Gadot hams, Zegler belts, and audiences bolt from this mess of a film. I saw it, so you don't have to. Let's get started with this Snow White movie review. This movie didn't so much release as it escaped, clawing its way out of the vault like something locked up for a good reason. Whatever Disney thought they were doing with this one, it's safe to say the magic mirrors cracked beyond repair. Let's rip off the Band-Aid. Rachel Zegler is a terrible Snow White, full stop. She can carry a tune, sure, if you're looking for a Broadway belter who has never once understood the assignment. Snow White is supposed to be soft, sweet, an ingenue with a soprano, not just a soprano, by the way, but an extremely high soprano, delicate voice. Soprano voice so delicate it makes the birds sing along, right? It should sound like her voice and the birds chirping very much on the same level. Instead, we get Zegler's full diva persona bellowing every note like she's headlining Chicago. It's all flash, no nuance. Her entire presence screams, "Look at me," which is the exact opposite of the infectiously kind demure princess audiences loved back in 1937. Honestly, if they'd cast her as Elphaba in Wicked, she probably would have been better than the equally vapid but less vocally talented Cynthia Erivo. But here, completely miscast. Also, I think you all need to give me some credit for managing to hit at both Zegler and Cynthia Erivo in this Snow White review. Again, this is Montanaro. And the music, good grief, the music. Disney somehow commissioned a batch of new songs that feel like rejected B-sides from a knockoff karaoke machine. They're bland, tuneless, and heavily auto-tuned, particularly when it comes to the Prince. Oh, did I say Prince? My mistake. He's not actually a prince at all. In their infinite wisdom, Disney decided to make him a bandit because, heaven forbid, anything traditional remain untouched. Unfortunately, the writers forgot to give him an actual personality, so he spends the film with the charisma of wet cardboard. No backstory, no charm. He exists solely to show up as a delivery system for True Love's Kiss, like some enchanted Amazon package. Wow. And let's talk about Snow White's character arc, or rather, lack of one. They keep chanting fearless, fair, brave, and true, like it's supposed to mean something, but there's no moment where she earns or grows into those qualities. She's perfect from the start, remains perfect throughout, and ends perfect. The only difference between Snow White in the first act and Snow White in the third act is her outfit. This is yet another tired Disney girl boss narrative where the heroine doesn't actually need to learn anything. She's already flawless, and everyone else just needs to realize it. Classic Bob Iger Disney. She's basically Ray. Zegler's performance doesn't help matters. Every line feels like she's forcing it, grinning through clenched teeth. You can practically hear her thinking, be sweet, be likable, be nice, and failing at every step. It's so painfully fake. You'll be reminded of every disingenuous nice girl who's ever stabbed someone in the back while smiling. It's clear that playing a character who is kind for the sake of kindness is such a far cry from who she is that it's an outrageous acting reach for her. Now, let's wade into the song choices. The original classics like Someday My Prince Will Come, gone. I'm Wishing, one song, also gone. Instead, Disney dumps in their new garbage, treating their beloved originals like clutter to be swept under the rug. Hi-Ho is the only bright spot, and even that's dragged down by the horror show CGI dwarves. We'll get to them. Whistle while you work, what a joke. Zegler's Snow White prances around singing about teamwork while the dwarves do all the cleaning. It's like watching Tom Sawyer con the neighborhood kids into painting the fence, except instead of charming. It's cringy and malicious. Zegler's version of Snow White doesn't feel like a leader or a friend. She feels like a bossy coworker who disappears when the real work starts. I honestly am aghast every time I see a Snow White movie review that praises her for anything. I had hoped Gal Gadot might salvage something here. I liked her in Wonder Woman, so maybe I thought she'd be the one bright spot. Nope, her evil queen is so over the top, so comically hammy, it makes Tommy Lee Jones' Two-Face and Batman Forever look subtle. Gadot chews the scenery like she's in a high school play and not in a fun way. She even gets her own original song, and it's as awful as you'd expect. Gadot can't sing. The lyrics are a disaster, and the whole sequence made me miss her much mocked Imagine video during the global health crisis in 2020. Yes, that was more tolerable than hearing her try to croon her way through this train wreck. Ooh, that's ouch. And the evil queen transformation scene, the original gave us one of the most iconic villain moments in Disney history, with lines like a blast of wind to fan my hate, a thunderbolt to mix it well. It's terrifying. It's memorable. Here, it's reduced to a lame reprise of Gal Gadot's earlier song, drained of all menace and mystery. That The hag disguise, once a chilling plot twist, is tossed in like an afterthought with no payoff. The entire poisoned apple subplot feels like it's only there because it's Snow White, so they had to have the apple. The movie's writing is textbook case of telling instead of showing the queen's evil. We're told about it. Snow White's kindness, we're told about it. The king's goodness, yep, we're told about it. Snow's grief over her mother's passing, narrator monologue incoming. Every emotion plot point spelled out like a grade school play, while the screen is cluttered from start to finish with cute CGI animals designed to distract toddlers. Now, how about those dwarves? Remember those leaked set photos with the 7:30 hippies standing in for the dwarves? Well, they're still here. It's painfully obvious this movie was cobbled together from two separate productions. The horrendous CGI dwarves, the stuff of nightmares, appear randomly shoved into scenes at the last minute after Disney panicked over backlash. Snow White meets the dwarves, ditches them, then teams up with the hippies, then finds the dwarves again. It's jarring. It's clumsy and it's borderline offensive. The whole movie feels like Disney had no idea, reshot half of it, then glued the pieces together with glitter and hope no one noticed. And if you believe the rumors, that's exactly what happened. Final verdict, 2 out of 10, and that's me being generous. Ouch. Ouch, Marvin. Ouch. Yeah, so there you go. J.D. Friel says, my daughter, who is always able to find the positive things, saw the movie this weekend, was completely disappointed and had nothing positive to say. So you know it's bad. Oh my gosh. Dan's Life at the Kingdom says, I like Dopey when he didn't talk. And Magic Adventures says, I just don't understand the whole remake. It needed a different title because Snow White was so fair, blue eyes, gentle and kind, and dwarves were dwarfs, not just, well, whatever the heck they were here. Indeed. The thing is, and I'm going to correct you a little bit, they were actually hazel eyes. I rewatched Snow White, like I said I was going to do and encourage everybody else to do. So rewatch Snow White, the original, over the weekend, and it's pretty clear. It's the one color that's not mentioned. By the way, the opening line of the original Snow White animated classic, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, right? The opening line is the queen going up to the mirror and saying, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? And then when the mirror is the one that gives the line, there is one fairer than thee, and she has, okay, this is what it says. I think it's black hair, ebony as coal, or black as coal. Then it's lips, that's very specific. And then skin as white as snow. That is incredibly specific because it literally mentions that her skin is white as snow. And yes, in the cartoon, her eyes were hazel. And they don't mention that color because they don't mention the color of her eyes, but they look brown sometimes, but they're kind of a lightish brown, hazelish kind of green. They're not perfectly blue in any part that I could tell. But they were hazel eyes. So, but of course, Snow White was German. This was a German fairy tale set in the 1500s. Lips red as a rose. Yes, ruby red lips, red as a rose. I think they were called, was it lips red as a rose or ruby red? Anyway, they were red. So anyhow, no, her strength getting through a snowstorm definitely does not work at all, because it doesn't make any sense. Like it's you can't really. Here's the thing. It's a fairy tale written in the 1800s by the Grimm brothers. Okay. And it was set in Germany in the 1500s. Okay. the Disney animated classic took those elements in and made it that. And there were the problems with changing the story the way that Disney has changed the story is that it makes it about somebody else. It's not about Snow White. It is about it's about some other person. It's again, you cannot have a character, create specifics about a character, and then have that character exist in lore among the public for decades and decades and decades, and then go and change it. So, there's nothing wrong with the 1937 version. There are things that could be updated, but not things about Snow White's character can't be updated. Things about Snow White's looks can't be updated. There are certain very specifics to it. What could be updated is the fact that when you're watching the original, the songs Wishing and One Song, those two songs are kind of smashed together. And it's very apparent from those songs that Snow White already has the prince in mind. She's already fallen in love with him. And I think the prince is the same. It would appear maybe there was a scene that was cut for time at that point in time, or, whatever. But it appears that there's a scene missing where there's some kind of a party or event or something where they spotted each other from across the room. They fell in love, kind of a love at first sight kind of thing. And what you're seeing is in the aftermath of that. I would have loved that narrative to have been explored more. The queen is about being alone and about being vain. Everything is about her. The evil queen is evil because of vanity. Everything is about her beauty. Everything is about her, like she became the queen so that she could get rid of the king, which was Snow White's dad, and then she could be by herself and rule by herself. Everything is about her desire to be alone and her vanity. And so the message in Snow White is love coming together, two people coming together, falling in love, and that love and being a couple and caring about somebody other than yourself is what overcomes the evil queen. It's unfortunate. So the real question, though, is it a win for Disney? Is Snow White a win at the box office after all the years of controversy? Is this a box office win? So I think that, for that, we really have to look at how this thing was looked at. Let's look at the general consensus. I'm updating the Rotten Tomatoes tab right now. And so we're going to look at that. Let's put that on the screen. There it is. Disney's Snow White on Rotten Tomatoes. Okay. Now playing an hour and 49 minutes long. It has an overall score on the tomato meter of 44%. I hate the way that Rotten Tomatoes comes up on a browser because it just doesn't seem to ever work correctly to give me all the things that I need it for. Give me at the same time. Come on, 44%, and then let's look at these numbers. Okay, so let's dive deeper into the numbers. And we're going to look at. By the way, Rotten Tomatoes is a horribly put together site as far as actually being able to look at the numbers the way you should be able to without issue. Because I'm trying to get to the numbers that I've seen in other browsers, and it's just Rotten Tomatoes is not making it very, very possible to do. All right. So if I look, here we go. So now if we go to here, we can see that the top critics give this its overall 30%. In other words, 3 out of 10 thought it was good. Out of all audience, roughly 2 out of 10 thought that it was okay, which means it's got 7 out of 10 critics saying it's bad and 8 out of 10 general audience members saying that it's bad. So that is the consensus from critics and audience. All right, now we're going to look at how well it did at the actual box office, because that's important too. Yeah, especially if you were, for example, a shareholder, which we don't give financial advice on this channel, but it's one of those things that you need to know. So let's take a look out of the numbers and see how it did. So we're looking at the numbers, and it looks like there are about 4,200 theaters showing Disney's Snow White domestically, and it grossed $43 million. Now, that is an estimate. It's not the final number. The final number will come out tomorrow, so it could go a little bit higher, a little bit lower. But the total weekend gross domestically was $43 million domestically. And then Native Hawaiian says over here, we're looking at about 87.3 million worldwide. All right. So on a reported $270 million budget and probably, $100 million spent on marketing, you're looking at needing to gross roughly $800 million at the box office before it can hit a break-even point. So anything under that $800 million would be considered a flop. Now, critical flop, yeah, it's already that. Numbers flop, it already is. Basically, generally speaking, it is just not looking good. And we have a story about that out of that parkplace.com. Let's take a look at that. Snow White opening box office tanks with $43 million weekend. Officially the lowest opening Disney live action remake of all time, as Access Media finally admits defeat. Wish. And this came out earlier this morning. So this is right on the money. The numbers are out. And Disney's latest live action gamble has officially face planted. The Snow White opening weekend box office stands at a meager $43 million domestically and $87.3 million globally, and not even Variety or The Hollywood Reporter can spin it into a win anymore. Let's put this plainly. This is not just a stumble. It's an outright disaster, especially when a film carries a $250 million plus production budget, not counting its hefty marketing spend. Analysts were once optimistically projecting over $50 million domestic, with even the lowball estimates hovering in the $45 to $55 million range. But Snow White couldn't clear the bottom of the barrel. Variety still tried to hold the line, weekly proclaiming Snow White as the fairest of them all at the box office, but the article noticeably lacked the usual bravado. Instead, the numbers spoke louder than the PR spin. This is the lowest opening ever for one of Disney's live-action remakes. Yes, even lower than the infamous flop Dumbo, which debuted at $45 million without adjusting for inflation. By the way, I adjusted for that for inflation myself, and it would have been about 53 million. So that even Dumbo made in today's money $10 million more than this, and that was bad. That was a bad remake. Even the Hollywood Reporter, usually a safe haven for Disney-friendly coverage, couldn't ignore how damning this result is. The article bluntly admits Snow White opened behind expectations, calling the performance trouble and confirming it lagged behind even Dumbo's dismal start. No amount of glossy headlines could hide that. For context, let's not forget the much maligned Marvel film The Marvels, which debuted with a $46 million domestic weekend and $110 million worldwide. That movie was declared dead on arrival, triggering endless analysis pieces about franchise fatigue and Disney's mounting creative issues. Now Snow White has opened even worse, and the media is running out of excuses. Both outlets attempted to shift the conversation, pointing to potential long-term legs, citing comparisons to Mufasa, the Lion King, which opened soft and laid out strong. But unlike Mufasa, Snow White isn't launching during the Christmas corridor. There's no extended holiday runway, then the audience enthusiasm clearly isn't there. Even the fallback defense audience scores rings hollow. A B+ cinema score might sound passable, but for a Disney princess film, it's mediocre. Compare that to prior live-action remakes like Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin, both of which opened well north of $100 million and landed strong A-range cinema scores. This is a clear step down. What's truly remarkable is how even Variety and I think that the Hollywood Reporter can't completely avoid the elephant in the room, the controversies, the expensive reshoots, and the public backlash surrounding lead actress Rachel Zegler's numerous missteps. Both publications mention the film arriving dogged with controversy and allude to Disney scaling back its premiere event. But there's noticeable tone shift. Less confident hand-waving, more quiet acknowledgement than none of the damage control worked. At the end of the day, the Snow White opening box office proves that many have suspected for months. Audiences aren't buying Disney's latest reimagining, no matter how many times the media tries to repackage it. This isn't just one bad weekend. It's a clear signal that Disney's formula is breaking down, and no amount of legacy media cover can salvage it. Wow. So, Snow White, I mean, the remake of Snow White is an absolute dumpster fire. And then where's a real dumpster fire? You know, 2 dumpster fires over the weekend for Disney, and it's just so sad. Dan's Life at the Kingdom says, in Epcot, Snow White in Germany has 5 meet and greet times, then Asha with 2 meet and greet times. Yeah. And I've also heard that this is more of a Wish live action than Snow White. And here's the thing, Magic Adventures, you might know this. I love traditional Disney. I love the Walt Disney Parks. This hat, what says Make Disney Walt Again, is about injecting more of what Walt loved back into Disney. You and I met at a park. We love the parks. I love Epcot. I really enjoy it. Living with the Land, one of my favorite attractions ever, and I wish it was in my backyard. I could go on Living with the Land. Here's the cool thing about Living with the Land. Every single time you go on it, it's different. Why? Because they've got it's literally alive. Like there's plants all around, and they change. Not only do they change the decor, but the plants are growing and changing and constant. I love that. The Imagineers need to get back to thinking about what makes Living with the Land work so well. Not how many people it attracts coming in on a daily basis, because it attracts a lot during the Christmas season, but just how good of an attraction it is in general as a Disney attraction, because that's what we want. The only reason I criticize Disney is with the hope that Disney will learn from mistakes and missteps. And course correct. And I have to say about this Snow White, one of the biggest problems with this version of Snow White is that it's coming out now in 2025. And it started its journey back in 2016. So while the company was injecting more progressive politics into their upper level management and stuff, that's when this version of Snow White was created. And it's coming out in an environment that is very much not friendly to that type of progressive politics. As we can see, the world has changed a lot. And I think the vast majority of people want life to go back to what we call normal, which is traditional families, traditional love stories, traditional things that made us happy growing up, all of those good things, you know. And I think that I absolutely think that they'll do this. They're not going to change Snow White in the parks at all. Snow White in the parks is Snow White from the Disney animated classic. So yes, you say if they keep the Epcot meet and greets of Snow White looking and behaving as she currently does, it will be fine, and they will. And of course, Dan's Life says that. But Native White says this movie is a flop. It's a tax write down at this point. I think it'll do. I mean, I guess when you have a loss like that, you can write it off. I don't know how that works because I don't deal with any of that kind of corporate stuff on that level. But I do want to thank everybody for being here today. We are going to head right over to Culture Casino after this. So as we leave here, everybody going into Culture Casino in a 6-minute daily, please do say hi for me. I want to thank everybody for being here today. And let's just celebrate you with a little bit of Culture Bear. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming into the Daily Dish. Tell Culture I said hi, and until next time, we'll see you real soon. Bye, everybody. Ciao.